Welcome to the Market Mystics podcast. I'm Joshua.
I'm Kim. Let's dive in. Hey, welcome back, everybody.
Welcome to the show.
I think that I want to start doing like pretending like we're real legit and be like, and we're live in 3, 2, and then hit record.
And then just kick it off from there.
I think I want to pretend like we're cool like that.
we
should try it at least once.
We definitely could.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it works. Zoom is also awkward because once you hit it, like then I got to go find the I understand this is being recorded button. So, right. It's not always the easiest.
That's true.
Okay. I have a philosophical question for you today, Kim.
Love philosophy. Did you know that about me?
I don't know. I mean, I think I've experienced that with you. I don't know if I would have maybe used those words, but
I do love it. It was one of my favorite things in college. I didn't minor or major in it, but they were some of my favorite classes. That and comparative religion.
That's a fun one.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a 2-part question. We'll just start with part 1.
Okay.
What do you want to exist even if you don't?
What do I want to exist even if I don't? Do you want to get the 2-part out there or just start with that?
Let's just start with that.
Is there a premise? I feel like this is very broad.
It is broad, but it's just like in life. Like if you were thinking about your life and the things you enjoy about life and the things you don't enjoy, and it was like, okay, Kimberly Villanueva is going to die.
She's not going to die.
Right. But I'm like, for the premise of this question. She didn't
exist. Okay.
For the premise of this question, what parts of that of life would you still want to be there?
What part, like my legacy? Are you asking about what my legacy is?
No, just like life. Just like, I mean, it could be something that's legacy. My mind went more broad. Like I was like, oh, love. Like I would want love to be there even if I wasn't, or something. Like I think I went a little bit more higher level rather than like, well, I wish someone would keep my streak on Duolingo alive. Like it was like I didn't go like that.
Okay, so what kind of feels like legacy to me. What would you want to, something that I have now that I would want to carry on even if I wasn't,
or just something you experience about the experience in life.
It is a good question. I think for me, I would also say the love, but I would also hope that the pursuit of the mysteries would continue. I don't feel like I'm carrying that by any means. Like I'm the only one carrying that. That's not what I mean, but like, I think there's advancement to still be had. And if I can't be a part of it, I hope someone will still like push for it.
Yeah, I think that's a great
crazy
answer.
Question or crazy answer. Okay.
No, I think it's great. I love the like, I mean, I think it just speaks to like your, I don't know if inquisitive heart is the right word, but like, we talk all the time on the show about innovation, about mysteries. And I mean, our show is named Mystics. Like we believe there's mysteries that are to be found and shared. And so I think that's a great answer. So the follow-up or the part 2 of that question is, how much of a difference do you make to that now?
I hope that I make a difference in the love all the time. Like, I hope I hope my family and friends feel that on a daily basis. Though I'm not the best at keeping up with people, so maybe I need to work on that. I'm one of those friends that it's like if we don't talk for a year and a half, I would fully expect to just pick up wherever we left off
Mhm.
without there being any love lost. Just
Yeah.
like I don't know. I'm not the best at like the day to day keeping up, I suppose. Josh, I probably talk to you more, but it's because we have scheduled podcasting time.
Uh-huh.
And we like have a scheduled time where we catch up
Yeah.
and that legit happens. But at least with my family, they see me day in and day out.
Right.
So I would hope they would feel like they are receiving that now. And as far as continuing to seek the mysteries or advancement or innovation or however it was that I
You
worded
said
that.
mysteries.
Yeah. Um I don't know. I guess the way that I feel like I'm doing it now is somewhat in the businesses and projects that I'm a part of. I hope that's the direction that we're going. Um I mean, you've people have heard about our podcasting business. My husband has a podcast table business, which is kind of the only one on the market. And it's cool to see how he's started out one way and it is continually changing according to need and demand and efficiencies. And that's like efficiency is like a big word for me. I love that. But then even with the project we work on in South Africa, it's called Eden Protocol. Josh and I are both I don't know, participants, members, founding members, I don't know, of this project. And one of the big things with that, like big scope with that project, I think is in my heart is building bridges between um, people groups, between economical statuses, between races, between continents, between consumers and producers, um, between elders and youngsters, just even between religions, believers and non-believers. It's like building those bridges. And I don't know. I don't know how much I actively contribute to that, except that I really hold that in my heart. Like it is a big desire. I'm working with the project. I don't know. And even in my everyday interactions with people, I hope that comes through. I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Okay. So, Josh, same questions.
Yeah. I it's interesting because I wrote this question down. I heard someone propose it and I was like, oh, like I think that would be an interesting conversation on the podcast. And I've like thought about it off and on for probably 2 days.
Dang it.
And I'm like, I still like don't exactly know what a great answer would be for me. But I think that's the whole point of the question. Like the whole point of the question is for you to like look at your life and be like, okay, what about this do I love? What about this is going exactly the way I want it to? What do I most enjoy about humanity? What do I most enjoy about creation? And am I having an impact on it? Or would me being there, yeah, an impact. Would me being there or not being there have any direct impact on how, whether it continues or stops?
Hmm.
And I think that it just opens up a line of questioning within yourself
Mm-hmm.
that can help you. I almost want to say it's connected, like you said, legacy, like, but like purpose and stuff. Because if there's something in your life and you're like, this is what I live for, this is the most important thing to me about humanity, but you're not doing anything in your life that has any impact on it, then like that's a really good way to self evaluate and be like, oh, maybe I need to like shift some things so that I actually do have an impact on the thing that means the most to me. Like maybe you would say that your children mean the most to you. Well, you have a huge impact on them. And so, like, there's like that's an easy one to point at. Like, I think love is a lot more nebulous. Like, honestly, if my answer was love, which I think is a great thing to want to stay around, but I don't like, there's almost no way that I can have an impact on love continuing to exist if I didn't exist.
You don't think so?
Like, well, okay, I think people in my circle might experience love more, I hope, if I'm around, but just the pure existence of love, I don't know that I don't know how much of an impact I can actually have on that. Maybe
That's
if all of humanity wasn't around, like there may not be a purpose. But I don't know. I think that's I mean, it's an interesting question. I think I can like, or if I do have an impact, it's, you know, how many humans are alive? 8 billion or something. Like I have like a 1 in 800 billion, like role in it. And so I do think that is, um, it's not unimportant. Like, you know, so we've talked about this before. I think everything in life, everything in creation is fractal. I think if you zoom in to the deepest level, you find a picture of it. And if you zoom out to the biggest level, you find a picture of it. And so, just like we are part of the body of Christ, we have an entire galaxy inside of us of like cells and organisms and like all sorts of things that exist inside of us, just in a very similar way as like exist as we exist in the cosmos. And like, yeah, that can be really crazy and mind blowing to think about, but I also just think that that's the way God did everything. Like, it's, you zoom in, it's there, you zoom out, it's there. um and so I don't know, like when I think about what I want in life and love and like what role am I having, like I I think like a more practical example for me would be like, I really have enjoyed learning about health and advancements in health and about finance and advancements in finance. And I would want that to continue. And do I have a huge impact on it now? Maybe not in the actual like scientific discovery, but I would hope that like through conversations we have, we stimulate like thoughts and things in other people. And so like maybe a tiny impact as far as that
it's
goes.
kind of like, can I build at least one step on the staircase of this advancement?
Yeah.
Like just lay one step, but
Yeah.
without that step, somebody would have to take a much bigger step up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like I think that even that kind of impact is important, right? Because it's really difficult to get to the second story if you don't have a staircase. You can do it. You can. In fact, I saw this viral video of this guy who attacked a judge, which is not a good thing. But did you
I've seen
see
that
how
video.
high that guy jumped? I
He
think he could.
leaped over it.
I know he didn't even like, okay, he went over the counter. What's that called? What's it called where she's sitting?
The bench,
Yes. Okay. Over the bench, which is has to be like 5.5 feet tall.
at least. Yeah.
But he cleared it,
Dove
didn't
over the
touch it.
top of it.
Like, so I'm just saying, I think some people could probably jump to the second story, but most
Yeah.
people would need some steps.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's, yeah, both are important. You need people who can leap up there to tell you what's there, so people are motivated to build steps.
It's true. It's so
Yeah,
true. Um, on your point about love, I want to just argue for argument's sake
it's fair.
or challenge. That's a better word. I want to challenge a little bit. Like you made the statement that you don't know what kind of impact you could make when you're just 1 in 800 million, or what kind of like love would actually continue,
Mhm.
because the way that I took it is it felt like you're such a small part of the whole. However, I would challenge that this is based on my belief. I guess I don't have like solid truth to like put this on, but in my experience, um, I have encountered love as an exponential power.
Mm.
And I think that of all of the things that you can leave, love is one of those things where the frequency can, like, Paul Young talks about the ripples, like, right? You throw the stone in the pond and then there's this ripple effect. And how far out do those ripples go? But I think love is one of those things where it goes far beyond what we ever think could happen. But I think it's because it's an exponential power. It's
Mm.
not something that is reliant only upon us, because if we are the only person on the planet carrying love, um, then there would be no way for it to carry on. However, what happens is we touch hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of lives as we walk across here, and the impact is actually quite huge. And I think this is uh one of those beautiful principles of the kingdom. And there's talks about different frequencies and different energies that things carry, but I think love is one of those that it multiplies. And I don't think it has to be simply singular. Like its nature alone is not singular. There's my challenge for you. What do you think?
No, I totally agree with what you're saying. I I suppose it depends how you, yeah, I don't know. I think that can open up a whole Pandora's box of thought processes of like, ooh, what is in here? Like, because that, I mean, to really answer that question, you have to really dive into, well, what is love? What, like, how do you experience love? Like, there's different, there's definitely different like level, I don't know if levels is the right word, but different ways you can experience love. And it's interesting because the other topic that I wrote down was directly based off of love, and so maybe that can be another podcast that where we talk about that.
Or maybe
But
that's what we're supposed to really talk about today.
could be you just want me
I'm,
to, you want me to put it out there.
I mean, maybe. I mean, I think there are multiple kinds of love that are recognized, right? Like
Yeah,
in English, we use one word, but in Greek, they use like 8 different words.
true, very much so.
And they represent different things. They kind of are enacted in different ways. So
Yeah.
what's the
Okay,
question
so
about
it
it?
really wasn't, it's not a huge question. It was just a statement that I thought was like, oh, that's, I appreciate it. And I was like, oh, we could probably build a conversation off it, but we can also continue a conversation off of it. So it is, love is only love if it only wants you for you. It's value if it wants something from you. So, like, if I say, I love you, and it carries any weight of needing something from you, then it's more of a statement of I value you than it is a statement of I love you.
Huh.
And I thought that that was really interesting. And I've heard people give similar statements worded other ways, but I thought that was a really interesting way. It just something clicked in my mind of like, oh, like
Hmm.
um yeah, like I've heard people say things like um it's not love if you have to earn it or do something like that, like and I think that this is a similar concept just a little bit expanded in the phrasing or using different phrasing maybe. Like,
Sure. Kind of simplifies it a little. I mean, I
mhm.
think of one of the Greek words, my favorite, agape, which everybody probably knows, but it is like the ultimate love, right? So
Yeah.
it is the selfless love that isn't looking for something in exchange. It is what is considered to be godly love. So it is the love that the Father first showed us. Um, and that's okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. You can absolutely correct me if I'm wrong, but
Okay.
that's the only one I can think of that fits the bill for what you're talking about. Most others have some reciprocity that is kind of needed a little.
Yeah. And but I think you could almost say that value is a form of love. Um, and maybe in Greek they use like um the other seven words, and we use words like value and need and
Honor.
right.
I was just thinking, I think honor, it carries a frequency like love. Like
Yeah.
it's not necessarily the agape one, but there's something that is transmitting love.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, and I mean like I'm not an expert in all of them. I know that in churches I've heard all of them talked about at one point or another. At the moment I can really only think of like agape, which is like you said is like the was like God's love, brotherly love, and then the one that's like romantic love.
So phileo or
So,
philia, depending
yeah,
on who writes it down,
right.
is the brotherly love like Philadelphia,
Yeah,
right? And then eros is the romantic love.
right.
There's storge, which is a familial love. So it's typically, this word always sounds harsher than I think it's supposed to be. It's somewhat of an obligatory love. So
Hmm,
it's like, I love my Aunt Sally. I don't have an Aunt Sally, but um, it is a love because that's what you do,
right.
you know? Um, but there are others too. And I only just recently learned of the others like yesterday. Funny, came up on my Instagram.
That's funny.
Hey,
Yeah.
you should follow us on Instagram.
You should follow us on Instagram. We don't post a whole lot, but
Oh,
you
we
should still
don't.
follow us.
It's true, but you could probably find our personal pages, or at least my personal page, from our Market Mystics page.
Yeah,
And then you could follow us and get a little more inside track into who we are.
that's true. I do have a personal Instagram. It has one picture on it, maybe two. I've just not not a huge Instagram user. I just never got into Instagram. I never really got into Twitter.
You crazy. I love Instagram. It is like my go-to social media, and I'm not big on social media. But you're a TikToker.
I am, and that's pretty much the only like I barely open any of the other ones now.
Hmm,
I'll
fair.
open
I'm the same
Facebook.
with Instagram.
I'll open Facebook so that I can clear the little red bubble that has notifications, but that's about it.
I don't even have Facebook downloaded on my phone. Like I have
Yeah,
to go to the browser and log in, which of course makes me not want to do it, which is kind of the point.
that's funny. We got a little off track, but it's still good
A
information.
little, but listen, this is what it's like to be around us sometimes.
That's true. Really, I think like we could probably process this more on our own and do a follow up to this, but it's the question for me really was just a question that gave me an opportunity to become more self-aware. Like it was like a personal development question,
Yeah.
like, oh, what do I really think and what am I really involved in, and is that what I want to do, and is that working, and so I just wanted to propose it here, and maybe the listeners will get something out of it, and maybe we'll have more thoughts on it, or maybe this was just good enough.
I think this is really good. I think it is spurring me on to be a bit more intentional about those things that I would hope would continue if I wasn't still around.
Mm.
Right. I think about in our latest episode right before this, it was our random questions episode.
Mhm.
And you asked me who my hero is, and I talked about my Grammy Joe. And as you're talking about like this love that lasts past when you're here, I think about that because I think of her and her love every day. I'm going to get teary. But it's a legacy.
Mm.
And my kids talk about her all the time and how she loved. There are things that continue on down the generations because of how she loved me. And I think that's one of those things that's kind of how it happens, you know? Sorry, I'm not a big crier,
All right.
but I think it's possible. It just again goes back to um it's an interesting thing because it can expand beyond the one person, you know? Like I
Mm.
was saying, I think so just her impact with me can then fork off and impact my children, which will then fork off and impact their children. And it's a family tree. I mean, that's how family trees go, right?
Mm.
And I think that's a powerful thing. Yeah. Anyway, more aware of that. Do I love in a way that will impact whether I'm there or not? And it's challenging. I mean, it is a very real question now to me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think
So
it's sometimes questions like that are good to ask yourself like once a year or maybe once a quarter, like just like really good questions that make you dig in and ask the deep stuff of yourself.
it's true. It's true. One way that I am showing my family love today, it's my nephew's birthday. He asked me to make some like fudgy brownies.
Sounds
so,
great.
so I'm making three different kinds, one from the box and two homemade, like different recipes, just to see which he likes better.
That's amazing. I like it.
It's kind of funny, but this is also one of the ways I show love.
I like it. It's great.
Yeah. I wonder, okay, will that last? If he eats all of the pans of brownies, it will last for at least a year.
I mean, the brownies may not last,
The
but the memory, the experience,
impact could.
the impact could last. Like that could spur him on to like he has a kid or a nephew and is like, oh, I'm gonna get them three of something they like just to see. Like it like that has potential. I mean, will the pan of brownies last forever? No, but like the impact, the ripple could go on for a
The
very
ripple
long time.
could go on. I think that's at the core of this.
Yeah.
What are the ripples, right? Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. That's a great point.
Oh, good stuff. Good topic today, Josh.
Thanks. Yeah, it was a good, it was a good show, good conversation.
It was good. Sorry for the tears. Sorry, not
Bring them.
sorry. It's real. You know what I just learned? I learned that I think it's vulnerability carries the highest frequency,
Wow.
even higher than love.
I heard it as authenticity, but either one could be true.
Okay. Well, I bet neither one is right then.
That's possible. I do think to some extent both of those are forms of love. Being truly authentic and
Yeah.
truly vulnerable, I think I think it could just be semantics in how we're saying it.
That's true. This is actually one of my goals for the season. Not to cry, but to be more vulnerable, because I have always been a person who really likes to put myself behind a wall, and I'll show you what I want to show you, but I'll like, it'll be like 0.5% of who I am. And so I had decided probably in December that I was going to try to really focus in on being vulnerable this season, which is hard. It really is hard. Ask my husband. It's hard.
It isn't easy. It requires so much safety within yourself to be vulnerable to other people.
It's true. It's true. And it is a defense mechanism. For me, it's a defense mechanism. If you don't know or see the tender parts, then you can't poke them and hurt them.
True.
But how do I don't know, how do I lead in a way? And I just say lead because I'm one of the voices on this podcast. But how do I lead in a way where I allow you to see what I carry as well, when we're talking so much about the value that others carry? And I don't know, just allowing that out there. And that's hard, but I'm going to do it. I'm committed. I don't know. This one is the Hunger Games, but I think this one is Scouts. I don't know. I wasn't in either one of them.
Thumbs up.
If I do that, then Zoom will like
prosper.
do something. Yes.
Zoom will put you. Yeah, that's funny. That's great.
Okay. Well,
good conversation.
Thanks, Joshua. Thanks, listeners. We'll see you next time. Hey, thanks for listening. Keep up with us along this journey by liking, subscribing, and becoming a member through YouTube.
Members get exclusive access to bonus content with our guests, deeper dives into topics, and a look into other projects. We're glad to have you here. See you next time.